All right, guys, welcome back. First off, I want to apologize to all the great fans out there. I know you guys were wondering what had happened. Unfortunately, something happened that was beyond my control, a connection issue, and we literally lost the show at 1 minute and 36 seconds. We did get all of the SmackDown recovered, so all the SmackDown is done. The independent scene and the Mikey's Mindset was delayed temporarily. However, we do got it back on. So right now, you're just gonna focus. We're gonna focus on the independent scene and everything else. Derek Ferreira covered the NXT. So for you guys out there, what you're gonna hear now is from Beyond Wrestling, the Women of Wrestling that went down from FET, and then of course my Mikey's Mindset. So without further ado, Derek Ferreira, you may continue, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know what happened over there, but so I'll just start it over again with the Women's Wrestling Revolution card. I'll actually go quick on that. Karen Q defeated Devane, and like I said in this other video, what happened was this was kind of like your classic babyface going up against a heel, and uh, Karen Q kind of reminded me of a John Cronus. Um, Actually, she hit a move. It was kind of a cartwheel, handspring, back elbow, and that was why I kind of said that. Then Veda Scott defeated Santana Garrett. Uh, Originally, Veda Scott was supposed to go up against Jessica Havoc, but what happened was Jessica Havoc had some airplane issues. Same thing with Bobby Hayden as well. That's who Santana Garrett was actually supposed to fight, and this became an impromptu match, and Veda Scott won. Even before that match happened, there was this brawl that these two had, and then we had a tag team match with Solo Dallin and Candice LeRae defeating Belmont and Miranda Viant. Of course, going towards that match, Belmont and Viant, they actually control the match for the most part, but Candice LeRae had some kind of a special drink. Maybe it was from the bar down at the Fete, and that kind of rejuvenized her. She came back in that fight, and Solo Dallin and Candice win the match. Um, and this is where we actually left off. Sonya Strong goes up against Taylor Hendricks. Taylor Hendricks basically controlled most of that match, and there was times where the fans, we were pulling for Sonya to win this match, and all of a sudden, Taylor Hendricks got, adversity at the end, wins the match. Now, this is where I'm going to get more into it now. We had Jody and Grace going up against Mia Yim, formerly of TNA, Jade from the Dollhouse, and Mia Yim actually won the match, and so basically, Jody and Grace, she's mostly this like strong female wrestler that Women's Wrestling Revolution has, and um, Jade, if you watch TNA, we know how athletic she is, and so this was basically strength against traditional wrestling, and there was actually a moment in this match where Jade actually almost got hurt. Um, Kind of like um, an Enzo Amore move, but you know she hit some power moves, and of course Mia wins the match. And we go into another match over here. Um, Alexis goes up against Lufisto, and this was kind of similar than the last match that we talked about. Lufisto, she's more of that kind of powerful wrestler. Alexis, she's more athletic. Of course, I've known Alexis for several years. I mean, I've seen her work at Chaotic Wrestling, Top Rope Promotions, any wrestling promotion in Massachusetts, down in southeastern Massachusetts. I've seen her wrestle, and Lufisto basically had more offense in this match, and the crowd actually liked her offense, and that kind of really took away from Alexis's comeback. But to be honest, I mean, Lufisto was more popular with the crowd, and during this match actually went outside, right into ringside, and you're gonna see the theme of this. You saw this in Beyond Wrestling, and there was a couple of moments where Beyond Wrestling, some of their wrestlers actually pull off the stunt. Alexis, um, there's a headway at Fed, and I would say it's about 5 to 10 feet, more like 5 feet, and Alexis just hit a cross body from the stage right onto the floor, and the ending of the match goes like this. So the Hoods, yes, I do know who they are, from the RWA, Davey Cash and Chris Pyro. And I guess what happened was Lufisto bumped into them. They get into some words. Lufisto basically hits their drinks. And then you have shenanigans where the Hoods actually gave Alexis the match. So Alexis wins. Lufisto, let me just say it like this, told me personally, oh, the Hoods are going to pay. She was pissed, upset, but hey, I mean, to me, she kind of started it, and that's how this situation got out of hand. And then in the main event, Deonna Purrazzo goes up against Kimberly. I thought this was their fight of the night over here. This was a technical wrestling match, and both wrestlers well done. I mean, the fans at the Fed actually enjoy this. You got to give credit for credit was due for both of these female wrestlers. This was really different than all the other matches that we had on that card. Kimberly, there were times where she actually made this match hard-hitting. But, Deonna Purrazzo, she adapted to Kimber's style of wrestling. Wins the match, like I said, and we go in. Beyond Wrestling, they set up for their wrestling match, and the first match that we had was Keith Lee going up against Brian Cage. For those that don't know, Cage from Lucha Underground. God, let me just say it like this: if you see this guy in person, this dude is an absolute. He's a giant. He really is. He's big. He's bigger than what you see on TV, and no wonder why this guy's not a man. He's a machine. And man, this was kind of like a Be a Man fight and kind of a cruiserweight match. And it was basically who was the better big guy. And I gotta say, Keith Lee, man, he's got to go national. He's got to go into Ring of Honor, New Japan. I mean, the crowd was actually crazy for this. And it was your first fight, definitely worth money to pay for. And Keith Lee actually wins the match. Throughout the night, we had the DDT Iron Man Heavyweight Championship on the line. Now, for those that don't know, Joey Ryan had the title, supposedly loses the title to Candice LeRae. And you saw this in the Women's Wrestling Revolution event. Jade actually won the title. I mean, there were so many title changes. I mean, this was kind of like the modern hardcore championship that you would see in the WWE. That's what it kind of felt like. It was campy comedy at best. So Shug D actually won the title, and this was actually backstage. But there was a lot of championship changes throughout the night. In fact, the fans actually won the title, so I can actually say that I came out of FET as a one-time DDT Iron Man Heavyweight Champion. You had Tanya C, who she's kind of like what Liz was. I know Liz from RWA was the photographer. She is actually Beyond's photographer. Actually won the title. She got recognized during intermission. So I don't really want to get into that. So we had AR Fox going up against Matt Tremont. This was a cruiserweight going up against a brawler. And if you saw this on YouTube, oh my freaking goodness. AR Fox. Now there's a thing at FET. It's kind of like a they have a screen, and it's basically to promote all the events that's going to happen over there. So AR Fox, he goes on top of this thing. The fans are chanting, "Please don't die, please don't die." Hits a swanton bomb, 15 feet. Channel my inner Mauro Ronaldo. Just hit the swanton! Joey Styles going for the 1, 2, he got him! I had to do Joey Styles right there. I mean, this was a sick spot. My goodness gracious. Then we had a multi-man match. Crusade for Change, Darius Carter, TJ Marcooney, Anthony Garone, Devin Blaze from the RWA, and Tommy Trainwreck go up against Strong Style Squad, Homicide, Monster Mac, Dan Moff, B-Boy, and Eddie Kingston. So Crusade for Change wins this match. Let me just say like this. If you're into the old school ECW, this is what it felt like. This was a brawl. I mean, this was just chaos, destruction. This was hardcore. You had that action in there. Just a crazy fight. And so Crusade for Change wins the match, like I said. Then you had your 5th match of the night. Kimberly goes up against Chris Hero. Chris Hero wins this match, so this was not a great night for Kimberly. And Kimberly was basically doing everything she can to really beat Chris Hero. And we said earlier, you know, she can kick. This girl can hit you with kicks. She can punch you hard. She can hit you with elbows. And couldn't even beat Chris Hero. So after the match, Chris Hero goes on the mic, buries Kimberly, and then has to introduce his buddy, JT Dunn, because JT Dunn had a triple threat match with Chris Dickerson and Donovan Dijak. This was a fight that actually went outside of the ring, and JT Dunn. Now, JT Dunn's got a little bit of a reputation at Beyond Wrestling. He now has to have a special referee because he's assaulted every single referee at Beyond Wrestling. I don't know what his dilemma is with the referees, but during this match, he just told his special referee, you know what? Go F yourself. I don't give two frigs about you. And what happened? He had to kick his special referee south of the border. Kicked him out of the ring, saying, you know what? I don't need your friggin' garbage. And all three of these guys basically brawled right into the balcony, and JT, from that picture that you saw on my Facebook, he actually jumped off of that balcony and landed on both of those guys. So JT Dunn acting like a punk. And his special referee, which was Brian Miloners, said, you know what? You want to freaking hit me? I can play that game. And Miloners just hit a huge sidewalk slam on him. Now, I'll say it like this. This match wasn't a 5-star match. This was kind of like 3.5 to 4. But I really liked the storytelling in this match. And they kind of mixed up. Three of these guys have been in rivalries, in separate rivalries over the past year. And, of course, JT Dunn thought he had this match won. And this is what happened. This other referee came out, counted to 2, but you know what? He stopped, channeled his inner Shane McMahon, Survivor Series 1998, a la Stone Cold Steve Austin, and told him, go F yourself. That's what happened. JT Dunn got pissed, and, Donovan Dijak, hold on, if I got this name. Yeah, it was Donovan Dijak. He wins the match, and the crowd just went berserk and tried to go after this referee, but Brian Malone's hit him with the elbow, and then the other official hit him, and then we go into intermission. What happened? You normally don't see this at a Beyond Wrestling show. The soundboard, which controls the theme music, which controls the microphone, all that kind of stuff, shorting out. And we didn't have theme music. We didn't have ring introductions. They went the old school way of how professional wrestling was back in the day. So after intermission, you had John Silver going up against Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle wins this match. I'm a big fan of Matt Riddle because Matt Riddle has this freestyle in his game. He's that UFC fighter, CES, and if you haven't seen John Silver, this guy can hit hard, and probably harder than Kimberly does. So this was kind of like a strong style type of match. I mean, it was a really good match, like a 3.5-star match. But Matt Riddle, man, that dude's gonna be a star somewhere in the indie scene. Whether it's, I really hope this kid does go into NXT in the future. I mean, he's worthy of being in NXT. Then you had a 6-man match. Team Prazu goes up against Catchpoint. And Team Prazu just goes into this. Now, Team Prazu basically came into this match and they wanted to prove a point. And, you have, the 2 out of the 3 members of Catchpoint, they're in that Cruiserweight Classic. Drew Gulak and TJ Perkins, or I like to say TJP. So there's kind of like some beef with these stables, and they were not going to take. Well, Team Prazu basically wanted to come out and they wanted to prove a point to Catchpoint, and they wanted to make it their match. And you had a lot of technical wrestling in this. Team Prazu basically had different strategies. They were more of a double team specialist. They did hit some power moves. They did hit some strikes. And really trying to keep up with Catchpoint. So Team Prazu wins this match. Now, after this match, Matt Riddle, who's actually a member of Catchpoint, comes out. Pinky Sanchez, who's also another member of Team Prazu, and he was actually the reason why Catchpoint lost that match, because he distracted Drew Gulak, and he got into Matt Riddle's face. Okay, so what's gonna happen? You had a big brawl, and Catchpoint basically got the better of that brawl. And then Chris Dickerson comes back in, clears house. So Chris Dickerson, he wants Matt Riddle. They basically got really heated. There was a big exchange. I hope this match is made in a couple of weeks. because I think these two, they have some beef. And that's a match I want to see right there. I mean, that match is going to steal the show. So then you had David Starr going up against Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano, basically, for those that don't know, he's making his final independent wrestling shows, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. Johnny Gargano is actually a heel in this match, and he's a hybrid wrestler, and David Starr's basically this amateur, but he can actually wrestle a professional wrestling style. So David Starr, he wanted to be cute. He added some comedy, and that's the charisma that he has when he wrestles. But David Starr, during that match, hit a suicide dive just hit a suicide dive, and this became a 4 to 4.5 star fight. I mean, this was just a classic. This was a hybrid style fight. Now, David Starr, towards the end of that match, he had some kind of foreign object in his hand because there was a rough bump, and he used it. But he's like, you know what? I'd rather tap Johnny Gargano out. And then Johnny Gargano basically low blows him, uses that foreign object on David Starr that David Starr had on his hand. And Gargano goes like this, and I remember him screaming, "That is why I'm going to WWE, and you know what? You're in this crappy promotion." Now we know that Johnny Gargano is going to be part of that cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw. So there's some news bit on that. And then David Starr actually won the match. And let's see. And you had Brian Fury against Tommaso Ciampa. This match, to me, I wasn't really feeling this match. I think because of what happened with the last fight. But Tommaso Ciampa, he wins, and then, he addresses the crowd saying, you know what? I don't know when I'm coming back to Beyond. It might be later rather than sooner. So that's another hint that Tommaso Ciampa is going to be in that cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw. And then in the main event, 2 out of 3 falls. Zack Sabre Jr. Goes up against Jonathan Gresham. This match wasn't a 5-star match. This was kind of more like a 4 to 4.5. I mean, these two have had some beef. Well, not some beef, but they've had a lot of beef. This was a very personal match. And instead of, doing technical wrestling holds, they basically were trading shots at one another. And this got into like a smash mouth, in your face type of fight. And it was all about, they wanted to cause chaos. And Gresham, at one point in that fight, I thought Zack Sabre was going to win the first fall. And, Zack Sabre basically used the neck, the shoulders, and it was just really bad for Gresham. But what happened was, during the match, Gresham was able to slide forward, and he actually pinned Saber's shoulders to the mat. Now, you had a double pin over here. So the referee didn't know what to do. So, heck, you know what? I'm going to give these guys the fall. Each guys get each fall. Okay. So we go into the third indecisive fall. And that's when Gresham actually tapped out. He actually made Sabre Jr. tap out, and he wins the match. And then after the match, Sabre just got out of the ring. He was upset that he got defeated. And, Grisham says, you know what, come back in the ring. We had a war in Somerville. We had a war in Melrose. We had a war in Providence. I got to give you a lot of credit for what you did in that ring tonight. And they gave each other props. And that was the show. Of course, that's their big WrestleMania. And let me just say it like this. These shows is the reason why I watch professional wrestling. And I said that on my Facebook page. WWE is more about they're more about the sports entertainment, but you have professional wrestling. You have these promotions like NXT, Ring of Honor, Evolve, PWG, Beyond, Lucha Underground, and so forth. What they did was actually better than what you saw at WrestleMania 32. This was their WrestleMania, and this was worth being there for. If you just paid to just go to that show, that Beyond show, you got 4.5 hours worth of great wrestling, unlike what WrestleMania 32 gave us. But, some people were happy about it. Some people were not happy about it. I'm more onto the people that were not happy about that show. So, it's a great show. Independent wrestling, it's a great environment because not only do you have a great time, but you actually meet these professional wrestlers. And I met, like I said last night, Santana Garrett. I met Veda Scott yet again. Taylor Hendricks, of course, knows me very well from a lot of these shows in Massachusetts that I went to before she actually was big in TNA. I knew about her before the national commitments came in. Alexis, Candice LeRae, all these wrestlers, and I told them, you busted your neck out there. You gave us worth the admission. And I paid $50 for this show, which was VIP, which I got, which was like the meet with the wrestlers as well. So Beyond Wrestling is one of the best things that is out there right now. And now let's get into their show, which is actually going to be in a couple of weeks' time back in Providence. And actually, I just got this news that AR Fox will be part of that show August 28th. It's not going to be at that. It's going to be at the Arroyo in Providence. So it's not going to be 450 people that are going to sell out that place. So what's big about this show on the 28th? You got this guy making his Beyond Wrestling debut, Tommy End. For those that don't know who Tommy End is, Tommy End has wrestled all over Europe, and he's actually going to be in the WWE. He signed a developmental deal, so we know that he's going to be in NXT in due time. But this dude he's a freestyle fighter. Can't wait to see what he does in person. The only match that I have at this point, Chris Hero goes up against David Starr. We'll see what kind of matches scheduled for the next couple of weeks. But tickets are $50, the VIP and the general admission. If you just want the general admission, it's $30. It's at 276 Westminster Street. Easy way to get there. Several options. The Ripta bus. Ripta kind of runs until, like, I believe 8 or 9 o'clock on a Sunday. So you can actually take the Ripta. That goes right into Kennedy Plaza. And it's not far from Kennedy Plaza. Or, what a lot of people like to do these days, use the Uber. Trust me, the parking in Providence sucks. I know, I've been tagged a couple of times over there in Providence. So yes, it's a great event to be at. As far as Massachusetts goes, I don't know when they're going to be back in Massachusetts. possible date will probably be December 11th. Uh, Hold on. Right around mid-December, because that's when they're going to do the next Evolve show. Evolve's actually coming back to Mass in December, so we might see another doubleheader with Beyond and Evolve. And quick on the New Japan, on the G1 Climax. I don't want to get into all the matches, but with New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's G1 Climax. Right now, when it comes to the A block, you got a two-way tie between Toji Makabe and Okada. Okada's been winning some matches, and what I've noticed is Tanahashi. He's actually on a 2-fight win streak after being 0 for 3 in the G1 Climax. So we got 2 weeks left until the finals. We're already halfway through this tournament, and on the B block of side of things, meanwhile, you got Nakajima. Nakajima is the leader in Block B, and this is actually a 5-way tie in Block B between Nagata. Nagata was undefeated last week. We talked about that, and Nagata actually lost 2 matches, but catching up to Nakajima, you got Yoshihashi, who's has been winning matches as well. Michael Elgin and Kenny Omega. So let's see what happens. Of course, next week I'll basically get into the rest of the G1 Climax. Really didn't want to get into that this week, mainly because of what happened with Beyond Wrestling and that show, and also the technical glitches that we just had. So let's get into the Mikey's mindset.
All right, very little on the Mikey's mindset. Like I said, basically with Ring of Honor this week, they had a show there. They basically covered all the ground. Basically, we had an in-ring segment with Jay Lethal. Then 2 matches with Moose. Yeah, Moose, who's now in TNA. He was on Ring of Honor Wrestling. Won against Mike Posey, squash fight, easy victory for him. Then he fought Donovan Dijak, the same Donovan Dijak that was on Beyond Wrestling. He fought him on Ring of Honor. Donovan Dijak got the win. And in the main event for the show, Jay Lethal and the Briscoes went up against 3 members of the Bullet Club, the Young Bucks and Adam Cole. Briscoes and Jay Lethal gets the victory, so that covers for Ring of Honor. For RWA, like I said, their next major event is Commemoration, which is going down on August 19th. Like I said, the matches that have been announced, one official match has been announced, and that is JT Dunn putting the RWA Hype Championship on the line against Ace Mike Montero. However, just as we went off the air last night for Ridiculously Raw, another match has been announced. A 6-person tag team fight. This one's going to be Arisa, the Teraton Billington, and the Insane Dick Lane, the Family United, and they're going to go up against the Middlesex Express, and making her RWA wrestling debut. Derek Ferreira mentioned her during one of those Women of Revolution shows. Mistress Belmont is actually going to be at the RWA arena. So she's going to be there making her debut. This is an exciting moment for them. Plus, Dave Cole has issued an open challenge to the RWA Triple Crown champion, Triplicious. However, I try to get in contact with RWA management and with the Secret City outfit themselves. My calls have gone unanswered. So as of now, we don't know what the status of the Triple Crown title fight is going to be. We're going to have to wait and see. So that's it for the Mikey's Mind. That's it for the show tonight, folks. So As always, Friday night on Strictly Sports, we got a lot to cover as always. So, check your check the YouTube page, your Facebook page right now on the Strictly Sports because the entire docket is gonna be there. And until then, for Anthony Floyo, for Michael Bullock, for Dee Dee Woodson, for Derek Ferreira, I'm Michael Fletcher. Thank you so much for watching this. Leave a comment on the video, like it, share it with all your friends through every social media outlet around the world. We'll see you guys on Friday night, 10:30 Eastern, on the Tone 25, YouTube.com. Hugs and hand pounds. We are out. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you on Friday.